name is Erica Kang. I'm the CEO and founder of KryptoSeoul, and really good to be here. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nguyen. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Kardiachain. It's my pleasure to be here today and meet with all of you. A little bit about myself. Before Kardia, I was an engineer at Google for 10 years in Silicon Valley. And it was at Google that I first learned about blockchain technologies, even before the hype of Bitcoin in 2017. And I saw that from the first time. I have been seeing that as an enormous opportunities to a lot of application for real world. So I myself strongly believe that in 5 or 10 years, you will see blockchain has a big impact on pretty much every aspect of life or industry in many different fields as well. Similar to the way you see, AI or cloud computing or internet has been taking over the world. So that was the main reason why we started Kardia. And then in 2019, 20-ish, we decided to move back to Vietnam and focus more on the Vietnam sort of market. We see a good chance over here with a younger population, the good environment, and a very flexible legal framework. That we believe that Kardiachain can make further impact. So we are one of the interoperable blockchain platform that has launched last year, and our aim is to become the accessible blockchain for millions of Vietnamese people. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the noise. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Trong Nguyen. I'm from Kyber network, and I work as the head of research in my company. And for me, I know about Bitcoin for a long time. I even applied for some PhD in cryptography, but I lost the chance and worked 2 years in my PhD in machine learning and AI. But when I returned to Vietnam, I have an offer from Kyber Network, and I see that it's a new chance for me to return to community. Because for me, blockchain is not only about technology, but about philosophy that I admire from a long time.
Wow, I think the construction guys, while I listen to the conversation, sorry about this. We did not expect this to happen, but thank you so much for the intro. I really respect what Kardiachain is doing, what Kyber is doing. I've been following you guys a lot, and I have many friends who applaud your projects. And could you just tell us a little bit more about what you're building these days, and maybe some recent developments that you want to share with us? Yeah.
Yeah, so I can start first. So it's actually a coincidence that Cosmos is one of my very favorite projects. I myself have a chance to meet with Jay Wang, the founders of Cosmos in 2017 back in San Francisco. And it was him who actually inspired me a lot on the ideas of interoperabilities and how that could change the games, right? So if you think about it, so Kardiachain actually started the first coding in 2018. At that time, Cosmos really wasn't a thing. Yes, EOS wasn't a thing. Like pretty much all you can find online was Ethereum and Bitcoin. I saw a presentation earlier about Go language. So it's also very interesting that we decided to use Go, right? For the many same reasons that the presenter has mentioned. So from the 2-3 years, we have been trying to build a platform, not only a DApps, but a real platform, a smart contract platform that inspired a lot by the way Cosmos think about things. However, we do have a few differences, especially in the ideas of IBC, which I think is a very smart, creative, innovative idea, if you will. But Kardiachain approached the interop in a different way. We think that at the end, there couldn't be hundreds or thousands of blockchain platforms. We believe that there could be, let's say, 10 to 20 projects that are going to stand the test of time. And by then, you probably don't see project pop out, every 3 months or so. It's going to be more of a long-term game, similar to how iOS and Android has been taking slowly over the world, right? Remember back in the day, in 2006 or 7, you could see like tens of different mobile platforms, but only 2 survive now. And that is what I believe in the future, that will be the case. So that's why Kardiachain focus more on not building the IBC necessary, but building a dual node technology, which is more non-invasive and allow a bigger chain to participate. So Tendermint has an Ethermint, which is basically a specific bridge that they can build for Ethereum. And if you think about if Solana or if Elrond, if some other platform become bigger, or BSC, for example, they would eventually need to build those bridges for those bigger chain. So we build it from day one. We build the dual node to different big blockchain and allow people to write the dApps that can do cross-chain transaction. When people think about cross-chain or interop today, they think a lot about DeFi or moving tokens or doing finance necessary. But we think about interop as also moving data around. Not only DeFi, right? You could be able to have different businesses using different chain, and at the end, you all want them to transfer the data together, not money. For example, if your school, one of your school, your high school is using one different blockchain, your college is using a different blockchain, and your employer using a different blockchain, you would want them to be able to transfer the data to each other. So the second part that Kardiachain tried to do different is we work a lot with businesses, traditional businesses and government to help them blockchainize their data. The reason we choose that is because Vietnam is still very slow or behind in digitalizing their data. So blockchain could be a good case for some of them. I don't believe the blockchain is the right solution for everything. But there are certain cases that you will see blockchain will definitely prosper, and that is where we decided to put our hands in and help them build a platform from day one. So we could have their data and we could bridge between a public and private blockchain also. So that are two things that our team really focused on doing today, building a blockchain solution that actually matters.
Thank you so much for a great introduction. I also am fascinated with the enterprise blockchain, how they integrate blockchain into their system. So I'd love to hear more about that later. But yeah, do you want to continue and share with us what you're doing?
So firstly, I want to introduce you about Kyber Network, my company. We work in decentralized finance. And we are one of the first, I think, the decentralized exchange in the ecosystem of Ethereum, and then we had a lot of how can we say innovation in the past years, and our own team goal is to build a system of finance which is transparency and fair for everyone. But the most important thing is remove the trust assumption between your user and the exchange. And but the Kyber is not stop in decentralized finance. So in our office of our research, we study also many things about the core of blockchain, or like a scalability solution, layer 2 or run up, or privacy solution where zero knowledge proof, and many other stuff. And our vision is contribute more to the blockchain community. Now we only work for Ethereum in the ecosystem of Ethereum, but in the next month, I think we will extend our field to Cosmos, Solana, and also some other chains. And I think research in cryptography and blockchain is very hard because it not all. It is one of the few where the product, the industrial, boosts the academic. You can see in many other fields the academic zone go forward, and after that, industrial zone we will go after the economic, and sometimes we stay about 10 years later. But in blockchain, it is another how can we say situation where we try already the solution, and after that we will find out how to make it right. And it is very very exciting for me to so I can learn from other people in with a very a lot of different respect. How can we say different zone of knowledge, and so that we can build our product better and contribute our most to the community.
I think one of the hurdles, well, not the hurdles, but blockchain space is way too fast, right? Do you all agree? Like, it's too fast. So if there's research done, like in a great span of time, it's too late. I mean, it's too late to follow the latest trends. So you just basically execute first, and then I think that's what happens. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for your answer. And the topic is future of interchain applications, right? How do you interpret interchain applications? Do you have like some examples that you could share with us that you're looking into? Maybe something that you're building, that'd be great too. And just your thoughts around interchain applications in general.
I can start. So I think earlier we also see the slide about blockchain 1.0, which is Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency. Then we move to 2.0, where we start the smart contract platform, and you have Ethereum as one of the leads. Since 2018, I think me and Jay, when we first talked about it, we have always believed that there will come to a tipping point of like a 3.0, where you will see that the real problem of blockchain is about the isolations of different chains, and that gotta change if you really want to make this technology become something that can bring real value. You cannot have isolation. You need to be able to bridge them all. And if you follow the blockchain world, you could have seen the rise of different trends as well. Remember in 2017, everything is about cryptocurrency. Then it comes to scalability. Every project comes out, try to claim that they can do 10,000 or 100,000 TPS. Does it really matter if you cannot get a real 1 TPS, right? So then it comes to the trends of DeFi. Then it comes to the trends of NFT. It comes to the trends of enterprise and governments. And lately, you start to see the trends of cross-chain. You start to see people need a lot of different bridge. If you follow Binance Smart Chain, for example, they have Pancake Swap, right? So what was the hype things about that? Because they can actually grab the token, bridge it, and make it move from Ethereum to Binance Chain, and get everybody able to trade in the same platform. That was one form of cross-chain inter-app possibility. There could be more to come. Now NFT become the big trends. Everybody talks about NFT, talk about unique game items that they can have. But not all games items would build on the same blockchain. Ethereum recently see a high in price, right? So it's very hard for you to it's very expensive for you to write smart contract and run any games. People will start moving to smaller chain. And then they could lose the benefit of interacting with the 90% of the apps that are still in Ethereum. So ability to do things like cross-chain finance, cross-chain DeFi, cross-chain NFT, cross-chain sharing data are all good examples of interchain. And once you can realize it or actualize it, you will see that it is where blockchain really take place and make a big impact to the society.
Thank you for great insight. I also I resonate 100% with what you said about the NFTs and the game items trying to travel multiple chains. I think, as you mentioned, like it's not only built on Ethereum. Ethereum was like the center of DeFi and NFTs, right? And then now I think a lot of Binance Smart Chain, of course, but like Solana's popping up. Everybody's Cosmos. Everybody's trying to like get those like NFT marketplaces and their own games. And I think the way that they they can like share the items and travel like cross chains. I think that's a very good example of interchain application. Thank you so much. Yeah.
In fact, in my opinion, I think the ultimate problem of blockchain is about scalability. We don't solve scalability problem yet because that every chain we have our limit. So in Ethereum, the scalability problem must be one of the most difficult thing. And because of that real problem, that where we have many chains, because we cannot group all the people, all the application in one chain. There are many concepts, there are many different, but we cannot force a user to buy a transfer like an arbitrage block to buy their work in gas. So to solve the security problem, it must be somewhere we have many chains, or we have something like layer 2 or sharding in Ethereum, and like that. Another problem pop out is about how we can communicate through many blockchain or many layers like that, and it's where I think the very nature of the problem, and I think that customers want to solve this problem by how can we say systemizing or organizing the communication between the chains, but it's not really easy. If you have a zone in your blockchain, it's easy, but you have another chain like Ethereum or Bitcoin, it's very hard. And so I think one of the more nature of cross-chain application must be how we can transfer the value of from one chain to another, but also the data. So when we come from data, it may be Oracle, price Oracle, or many other Oracle in the future. But also we have we can have many type of finance in application for in cross chain, because the your fund is sitting on one chain, but somehow you must want to ultimately utilize it in another chain, and somehow cross chain application may help you to do that. So and we have some other cases, but I think how can we say, in the many next years, maybe finance and data must be the true real application that require as how can we say, the cross chain communication.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, seeing Kyber started it was way back in the DeFi days. Like even when we didn't talk about DeFi, I mean, Kyber was there, and I'm very always impressed how Kyber has been able to adapt to new, I guess, environments, but stay strong to the core. I mean, I really respect what Kyber has been done as branding in terms of as an ancestor of DeFi. I think it's one of the really originating projects in DeFi. And just maybe one fun question in this so the market's going crazy. Industry's booming once more. We're going into this explosive market industry. In your perspective, what are you trying to stay on top of the game? Basically, trying to differentiate yourselves from the other competitors, or I guess because sometimes you get compared to with other chains, right, or other projects. And is there anything that you think you're differentiating from those other competitors? Is there anything that you want to just share with us?
In Kyber, we so can we say we try to give user the more benefit experience. and how about capital in efficiency, and also about how cost, how much cost when they use our exchange, our solution. But ultimately, we research for new technology to layer 2, for example, to address new problem in the ecosystem, and also yes, maybe on cross exchange, cross chain exchange is maybe a little far away, but in Kyber, we always welcome a new innovation and new idea to do that. And I think it's one of the thing we think that one of the characteristics of Kyber that we think that will help us to stay in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, thank you. Anything want to add or?
Yes, and maybe I will add some motto of the company, because our vision is not about 5 or 10 years. Maybe we want to stick to blockchain for more than that. And our vision is not only, you see, there are many projects that will come with the bundle, and where we fail after that. But we want to stay in and offer a real value for the user. Maybe a very small targeted zone of user, but not anywhere, not a thing that you can see anywhere else.
Thank you so much. Are you ready for your?
Oh yeah, sure. So I think cryptocurrency is not blockchain, but somehow it's based on blockchain, but it's not the only application of blockchain. But somehow blockchain always comes when there is a season, right? A cryptocurrency season, when a boom season comes. We see that in 2017-18, we see it's coming now. When you start to see everybody around you talking about bitcoins and blockchain, you know that the out season is coming. So for Kardiachain, we was born during the bear market, like when pretty much nobody is speaking about that, like people don't want to talk to each other about Bitcoin at all. So we have always been trying to build a long games for 5-10 years sort of things, and we try to bring that slowly under mass adoption. So come to your question, our season coming wasn't our sort of like expectation that it comes so soon. So technically, there's not much change in strategy or vision of the company. We have always been building the same thing that we're building. We're talking to the same partner that we talked before. But business-wise, we do see a lot of opportunities now, right? We see a lot of apps that want to come to blockchains. They want to build the apps instead of apps. You start to see big corps, enterprise, and government talking about blockchain 4.0, how to apply that. I have the opportunity firsthand to talk to many chairman or CTO or CEO of different big company about how they could do the digital transformations, and blockchain is always one of the big topics. So I would say that in the past 3 months, Kardiachain has been scaling, almost double the size, and has been working like double time, just because we don't want to miss this opportunity to onboarding more business, more people. That is to realizing our dreams of doing mass adoption. Though I could say it has always been the same vision, the same priorities for our product, just that the opportunities come now and we don't want to miss it.
I really respect that, because it's all about consistency, long-term vision, but this time it's like too difficult to miss. Like you really have to take advantage of. I mean, the BD people must be very busy, to be honest. And for me, it's a very busy time, and it's a good thing, I think. And once the time comes, we're ready, because we have been building for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, I really am so honored to have two like long-term, consistent projects, building projects in the blockchain scene. So, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, so sorry, I just want to add one last thing.
Sure.
Since many of you guys here are developers, I could say I saw you talk about how to build a blockchain in 24 hours and things like that. We all saw that so many times, especially the dev over here. I myself was once who tried to build the home blockchain, the A to Z, in 3 days, and we had a pretty strong team. But our season come is when you start to see that a production blockchain is not a prototype. When you start to see hackers from every corners of the world, you start to see DDoS attacking, blackmailing, threatening email, taking over your domain or attacking your network, DDoSing you, getting a 51% attack, and that is the kinds of thing that Kardiachain is facing almost every day, days and night, and it has been increasing sharply since the rise of Bitcoin. So I think from dev perspective, two things. One is productionizing a blockchain is very different from building a prototype for blockchain. And second thing is, our season coming is when your chain start to receive a lot of attack.
That's a good example of doing that. Yeah, I think one of the things that you mentioned is like your friends keep asking you about the Bitcoin price, like should we buy it or not buy it? Remember, like I think everyone around me just like contacts me randomly and says, do you know about Ethereum? And they don't pronounce it right. They're like Ethereum, but they just don't know too much about it. But they want me to recommend some good projects out there. But yeah, it's been amazing talking to you guys. And thank you so much for being here. Should we take some questions from the audience? Is there any question from the audience that I think we could take? And can you maybe share the mic? So we're going to take some questions. Can you raise your hand, please, if you have any? Yeah. Oh, in the back. Yeah.
Hi, this is a question for Wee. I'm a crypto enthusiast and DeFi enthusiast, and I've been looking into cross-chain and multi-chain projects. I'm just wondering, and I've been looking at Kardia as well, I'm just wondering how you guys are different from other projects like Polkadot and Polygon. I know you're doing some kind of dual node technology, but maybe you can go a little bit into details about that, and then how do you see your competitions or cooperation with other kind of projects that I just mentioned? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. So Kardiachain is, let's put it this way, Kardiachain is a non-invasive smart contract platform that can do interoperable. So the three projects that we usually try to compare ourselves, not necessarily as competitor, because I don't think any blockchain platform are competitors, but the three that we usually look at is actually Cosmos and Polkadot and Kardia. So like I briefly explained a little bit about what's the difference between Cosmos and Kardia. Is Cosmos trying to build an IBC. So if you build another interchain, you need to adopt into their IBC protocol, right? So that they have a low layer of communication channel to each other. That's how they transfer the data cross-chain. It's similar to you build a bridge and you get the data both way. There was another project back then. I just forgot the name. Aeon or something that they actually
Ion,
right?
Yeah.
Ion. They have the concept of building a different, a sort of like a floating bridge. That's what we call, and they can move the bridge around to different chain if they wish. Then come Polkadot. So if you know Polkadot, try to create a parachain of hundreds of different, actually only 100 sidechain that can ever come to Polkadot zone. That is why they sell each of the parachain for $1 million. So Polkadot try to create an ecosystem of their own of around 100 different bridges. Think about a city that is connected by 100 bridge. Kardiachain is even more extreme that we don't think there could be up to 100 bridges to connect. We think that over time there will only be up to 10 or 20 different platforms. So the way we do is we build a dual node. That is our patent pending solution in both US and Vietnam. A dual node means you are a double agent. So if you are the Thai Ethereum, that node can talk both Ethereum language and Thai language, meaning that they participate in the Ethereum network as a light node. They know all the information coming. And then there are a bunch of them that make into one consensus zone, and they vote on everything they see as well, if something is really happening or not. So you could think of that as a decentralized oracle, but decentralized oracle only allow you to read the data. We allow them to do both way, right? Read and write, and also send the transaction to Ethereum if needed through those guys. So then we're gonna have a Kai Ethereum dual node. We're gonna have a Kai BSC dual node. We're gonna have a Kai ADA dual node, for example, or even we can have a Kai dot dual node if we wanted to. Then only that for dual node groups will talk to each other and send the traffic around. Kardiachain is merely a guy standing in the middle and direct the route to the correct groups, right? So that is how we are different. We're non-invasive because we don't require the participating chain to make any chain. We are making that chain by doing the heavy lifting work to join their network and understand their languages. That is why Kardia would move a little slower than some other projects, because we are taking on the heavy lifting work to make sure the securities and the functionality works. Though, if we are right, if our bet is right, and there could only be 5 or 10 blockchain that really matters in the long run, we will be able to connect them.
Thank you for your question.
So just very quickly, so and then how long do you think it takes for that development to finish?
So right now, our final testnet phase already have Ethereum, BSC, Neo, and what is it? Trons, right? Working. So we will in Q2 we will launch it in production for the first 3 of them, which is Neo, BSC, and Ethereum. We do believe that that would handle almost 80 or 90% of the current traffic that required to move cross-chain. Like if all of you know, like Ethereum and recently BSC is really the main one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions? And here in the, do you want to my mic?
Hi. My question is about the security of the future of every one of these cryptocurrencies. So you said that you think in the future there will only be about 10. Now, if you gave the example of Apple and Google, that makes sense because they were the gatekeepers. They created the devices which held the software. But in the example of cryptocurrency, especially one in an era where something like Cosmos is trying to create interoperability, what is to stop anyone from just creating a new cryptocurrency that works in competition with them? And seeing as these have a decentralized nature of development, couldn't some like pirate scheme with a more centralized group of people develop faster by outdoing the competition simply by having more interoperability with different parts of the world? So aren't all cryptocurrencies essentially constantly fighting each other in a way that something like the dollar and the euro won't have to do because the central bank is in charge of its safety?
So yeah, yes, I see what you're saying, but is that more on the security issue that you worry?
Only the security of the cryptocurrency and how long it will survive, not with the people or how long or whether the blockchain is secure or something like that. More about whether currencies will not live or die very quickly.
Okay, so it's not about blockchain security; it's more like cryptocurrency security. That's what you could say,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you think about current, traditional banking, it's like developed countries, and we are talking in cryptocurrency. It's like a Wild West in America back in the days, right? You can come out and got killed the next day. You can have a $500 million project that got rug pull or get hacked the next day as well. So I think that it is a natural, evolutions of the technologies, and if the cryptocurrency. You will see thousands of projects got listed in Binance or in some big exchange today. That I bet you that 3 years or 5 years in the future, you couldn't see them anymore. And we saw that happen back in 2017. So many projects that has died and doesn't bring any value. That was a zombie project or got delisted. You will continue to see those. And I feel like until there are real regulations, which will be hard, but until there is real regulation from some part of the world, similar to the way, or how to say it, try to make cryptocurrency more of a mainstream, similar to the way Coinbase is going IPO recently. Got some kinds of recognitions and some kinds of regulations on the scamming and, thing. Then you would continue to see this, the stronger one evolve and others will get killed. So there are two kinds of cryptocurrency. One is the scam project that you would just build to get money and you're gonna die on your own or rug pull the next day. Those kinds of projects I don't even mention because they are built to to die, right? There are other projects that intentionally good. They wanted to create something, they wanted to build something, but they just failed because they couldn't be able to compete with stronger projects over time. And for that, I think it's natural and it should happen. So you, at the end, you would get decentralization is good because that is where the community, where the people really decide which project actually bring value. And I think that will have to happen. And up to a point where you will see, things concentrate into a few big projects. That is where cryptocurrency and blockchain in general has matured.
Can I just have a quick follow-up question, which is then, won't the big companies, so won't Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, simply become the new governments or the new central banks? If they create a cryptocurrency of their own, which they make easily interoperable with all of their other operations, like in the same way that everyone signs up for everything using Facebook or their Apple account, if they create something which in fact leverages their ecosystem in a way that is simpler, won't everyone simply flock to those cryptocurrencies instead? And won't we end up with essentially large data governments?
So I can only speak on that from the technical perspective because I'm not a finance guy or economics guy, so I wouldn't pretend to understand that. But from the technical perspective, right? If Facebook cryptocurrency is approved by everyone, by the vast majority of the people, and they will start moving in and start using it, then so be it. As decentralization, there is no reason why technologies cannot do that. There's no reason from technical side to stop that from happening. Like why wouldn't some countries in Africa, like Zimbabwe or something, use US dollars or use gold? Gold has always been a sort of like a standard for money, right? But now if you can digitalize it, let's say if it becomes a DEM or the Libra that Facebook tried to create, technically it's possible and it should, but from regulation, economics, and order perspective, legal perspective, they might stop that. But yeah, like I say, I'm not a legal guy, economics guy, so I couldn't comment.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything to say to add to the question?
For me, I think the first about cryptocurrency is from bootstrapping the project. So yes, the cryptocurrency must undo with the project. If the project fails, we don't need it anymore. And about the regulation and history from Facebook, we must think about one more thing is that we live in a decentralized world, and where we are not adapted. Among the people, there are not too many people who know about crypto now. Too many people who think about cryptocurrency as a real money. Something in Vietnam we say about imagine money, like that, something like that. So it is not about the regulation about the government, but it about the people before that. When the people accept and adopt a cryptocurrency, I think that the door of regulation will be open for more things. And I don't think, and I hope and I will see governance will become a part of governance in cryptocurrency, but with a fair, more transparency model. So you cannot build a system that change all the thing like in 10 years or 20 years, but you can have the governance regulation in crypto more in a more transparency way, where every people adopt the idea about something about blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Yeah, just to kind of add a little bit, like the Facebook coin, it just and Telegram, the project, it just got blashed by the government, right? It was in the wrong timing. I think the regulation was not ready for that, and I think these days from the U.S. SEC, so SEC is definitely being open, much more open with the new government and everything. I think with the global trend, I think it's being more open to just take it in, like not like entirely, but I think to some extent it is definitely trying to understand what's happening, the movement, and I guess the philosophy of what's going on. And I personally heard from the SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce that she was fascinated with the DeFi protocols out there. That it is very innovative. It is disrupting everything that was originally built, but she didn't really, of course, she couldn't comment on the regulation side, but she definitely said that it is meaningful, a trend to move forward, and she does promote people to build more innovative things, and she wants them to build in the U.S., incorporate in the U.S. So that was very meaningful to hear, and the fact that the top most conservative U.S. regulator would say that just in a public, I think that just meant a lot to us. And I think the crypto space is so nascent. I mean, it's so nascent. Even like we went through 2 major bull cycles, but still it's a very early stage industry. And just a little bit of improvement, I think it just kind of brings a lot of hope into it. and I think it's definitely moving in a positive light, slowly but surely. So it's all about I think a philosophy movement as well. So it's hard to define, I think, the reasons and like how it's going to fail or die. But I think we keep trying until it just really clicks in the right timing with the right framework across nation states. So I hope that kind of answered your question a little bit. But thank you for your question. We'll take one last question. We need to have pizza, so okay, Tom. Yeah. Oh.
Thank you. This is a question for Kyber. Everybody's talking about V3 these days, V3. So can you tell us a bit about Kyber V3 and the DMM and how it makes liquidity more efficient?
I was going to ask that question actually, but thank you for mentioning that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have 2 things, different things, the Kyber V3 and Kyber and IDMM. So the first thing is about Kyber V3. So in the very first stage of Kyber, we have foreseen a down, up, but it must be it's not about Kyber. It is about a network where the community will have the right to direct the very nature of the exchange. And it's not about Kyber who will hold the Kyber network for more long time. So we must have another people from maybe another team or maybe other developer to contribute in the ecosystem. And Kyber will gradually how can we say give us the right to the community to take more decisions, and Kyber V3 come to have a more incentive for people to do that, because we don't have any money to give to other team, an incentive for them to build something for Kyber network. So it is a very crucial thing that we lack in Kyber, and we think about how can we attract more people to contribute in Kyber and the Kyber network, and how we can give our right of the decision to the people completely. And firstly, it maybe give them something in how can we say some motivation to do that. And the very nature of cryptocurrency is just the same thing. We give the people the motivation to do the right thing and to develop the ecosystem. And it's about Kyber V3. And more about DMM. Now DMM is another story. We see that the liquidity is a very difficult term to define, and we see that now Uni or Uniswap and every decentralized exchange now is very inefficiency in that term. So how can we make the capital efficiency of the decentralized exchange become higher, and give us the people, give the users the how can we say the liquidity provider more the how can we say the right to see their position in the exchange. So we think about how can we regroup the liquidity in a range, and I think it might be in very same idea of Uniswap in the third version of protocol. We had to have an independent research, and we come to a solution that are very similar. And in that one, it is a great competitor, but also a great one that we are in the right way to and we offer a right value to the user in DMM.
Thank you so much for your answer. Hope that answered your question a bit. So that is the end of our Q&A session, but thank you so much for your beautiful insights, and I learned a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys also learned some valuable insights like me. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, first of all, and despite this COVID situation, I am very thankful, Nicole, and thank you, Min from Propsy, for sponsoring this beautiful venue. I do hope to host more events, more meaningful, unique events in the future. So please stay tuned. Follow our Facebook group, Crypto Vietnam, for more exciting things coming up. But yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy pizza and let's network. Thank you so much.